Hi, I'm Angela, and welcome to my channel, Befriend and Tend. So it's ironic that Rapunzel was one of my favorite fairy tales when I was a little girl with her long, luscious blonde hair, given that I've had alopecia for most of my life. I'm pretty relaxed about alopecia most of the time, although there's still a few things that I miss, like not having to run around the house looking for my wig every time somebody rings the doorbell, not having to draw on or tattoo my eyebrows, not being afraid of a windy day, feeling more comfortable swimming. On the other hand, once I got my wig system down, I really don't have to spend as much time, effort, or energy on my hair as a lot of other women that I know. So when I was in high school, I had a dime-sized patch at the back of my head, and it sort of rotated around the back of my head from ear to ear, and it contained itself there and was pretty well behaved. But after I graduated from college, the patch became a lot bigger and it started marching up my head. So I used to wear a really tight, low ponytail, trying to hide all of my bald spots because I had several. And I realized that I was probably going to have to get a wig. So I ended up at a wig shop and I was trying all of them on, and it was really kind of traumatizing. It was not something that I wanted to be doing. So I didn't have any sense of what a good wig was or a bad wig because I hated them all. Every wig that the woman put on my head, I just hated. And so she managed to convince me that there was one wig that was good, so I bought it and I came home, and my sister took one look at it and she was like, "Oh, that's terrible. You need to go to a real wig shop where they fit wigs for people who have cancer that are supposed to look more natural." And so she went with me to help me choose a new wig, and I loved it. It was beautiful and I felt beautiful wearing it. But the long wigs don't last as long because they tend to get knotted in the back there. So I graduated to a shorter wig and I stuck with that short wig for like 35 years. And it was only in the last 3 or 4 months that I got this one. I like having hair around my face again, and I like having something a little different. But when I went to that wig shop, the owner told me that I should consider going to a support group. There was a support group at the local hospital, and there were easily 20 or 25 people in the meeting when I walked in, so I thought it was pretty promising. When everyone started introducing themselves and sharing their stories, however, I was pretty taken aback because they were all older than me and they were willing to be more vulnerable, and they got very emotional telling their stories, and this really made me nervous and uncomfortable because I wasn't accustomed to dealing with and processing painful emotions. I tended to just shove them down, and so I ended up walking out of that meeting, and for many years I thought that I did the right thing because I thought all those women in the meeting were sort of a basket case. But in recent years I've thought that maybe they had it right because they were being honest and authentic, and they were processing their pain, and they were connecting with each other, and they had someone to reach out to when things didn't go right. And I, on the other hand, was pretty much alone, and life did throw some pretty uncomfortable situations my way. Like there was a time when I was hiking and a tree branch, like just grabbed my wig right off my head and flung it to the edge of a cliff. Fortunately, I was able to retrieve it and none of my companions were any the wiser. And there was another time when a guy that I really liked rejected me for my alopecia. I was dating him when it wasn't that bad, and as it got worse, he really, he didn't want to keep dating me, so that was really hard. And there's like the time I open the oven and I'm wearing my wig and my bangs melt, and then so I think of myself this really bad haircut and order a new wig and wait for it to come. And then there was another time when I was standing at the edge of the ocean and I was watching my husband with my kids in the water, and another woman just gave me some snotty comment about, too bad you care so much about the way you look in your hair instead of getting in the water and making memories with your family or something really rude. And every time I just sort of pushed down those feelings and just kept soldiering on. So if I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self about alopecia and getting the wig, what would I tell myself? So the first thing I would say is to go and get a quality wig with someone who is very experienced in styling wigs and making them look natural, and take along a friend who has impeccable taste and fashion sense. It's going to be hard when you have to put on that first wig, but it gets a lot easier. I mean, it's hard at the time, and then you get through it. And I think the second thing I would have told myself is that all my emotions and feelings were valid, that I didn't have to, be really tough or push down all these emotions that I was feeling, that they were valid, that it was okay to cry and it wasn't vain to cry. I mean, you're losing a part of yourself and it doesn't happen quickly, like you lose clumps here and there. And yeah, so I would be so much nicer to myself about it and let myself feel my feelings. And the third thing I would have told myself is that life is going to throw some uncomfortable and painful moments my way, and because of the alopecia, and that I can't live in terror of them. Like, just sort of know that they're going to happen and trust that I'll be able to get through them, because feelings really are temporary. And yeah, certain things are really horrible and hurtful in the moment, but you move through them and you grow. The other thing I would say to myself is that it's not all bad. Some of my favorite memories have to do with my alopecia. In one of them, I was in graduate school, and my boyfriend at the time used to call me his little brancusi, and I didn't know what that meant. And so one week we went down to New York City, and he took me into one of the museums. I don't remember which one it was, and he showed me one of Brancusi's carvings of the Sleeping Muse. And when I stood in front of that carving, I just started crying. And it was just sort of this lightning bolt moment that, that, people would find me beautiful. The right people would find me beautiful. And I guess the final thing that I would say to myself is that having hair or not having hair doesn't change who I am. I'm still the same person, and everything's going to be okay. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to let me and the YouTube algorithm know, and consider subscribing. It would really help out my baby channel. I'll see you in the next video.